And still on bullying in schools, an educationist, Dr. Yinka Olatubosun, joins us via Zoom from Osun State. He will be discussing with us issues around bullying and how to prevent it. Thank you indeed, sir, for joining us on the News at 10 today.
Thank you very much for having me on your program tonight.
As an educationist, I'm just going straight there. What kind of experiences have you had in terms of bullying?
Well, thank you for that question. I've actually had an experience. My first son had an experience when he was in the high school. That was about 10 years ago. He was in SS1 then, and he was about 13 years old. And he was being bullied by his classmates because he was quite young, He was about the youngest in the class. So that made, his classmates to start bullying him. And it was that bad that, in fact, he almost lost one of his eyes, and I had to take him away from that school. I met the management of the school, and I expressed my disappointment, and of course, I had to change him to another school, based on that incident.
As an educationist, you cited what your son had to go through because he was young at that time. I'd like to ask you again, other causes of bullying, because sometimes you just wonder what kind of parents would raise bullies.
A lot of factors are usually responsible for bullying. Every child comes from a home, and the way children are brought up, actually determines the way they behave when they get to school or to the community. And of course, even peer pressure too can also, cause bullying, among students in the school. Lack of empathy is another reason why bullying usually happens. And of course, environment, like I said earlier, family environment, poor school culture, desire for power, those are some of the reasons why you see bullying happening in our schools these days.
All right. In the case of a Grenadian school in Edo State, we understood that the perpetrator has been disciplined, like reprimanded. Are you satisfied with the kind of punishment you heard that they meted out to him?
Sure, that's the right thing to do, because even, like I said, in the case of my son, later on, I began to feel bad that I didn't even take any action, against the management of the school, apart from the fact that I reported and I expressed my disappointment. Because if drastic steps are not taken, students will not know. Those who are bullying other students will not know that what they're actually doing is wrong. So I'm in support of the action that has been taken. That will serve as a deterrent to other students.
Let's talk about the bully and the bullied. Now, everyone is paying attention to the bullied, but some would wonder what would drive the bully into action. As a parent, what do you have to say in this regard, and how indeed can we get rid of this kind of issues within schools?
Yeah, like I said, upbringing, background, are very important in the life of every child. The way children are brought up determines the way they behave when they go out there. Now, for bullying to stop, a lot of things have to be done. It actually starts from the home. Parents have a role to play. The community, religious institutions, they have roles to play. Faith leaders, community group leaders, they need to promote respect, compassion, and accountability. And even the schools, the schools themselves, they have to come up with anti-bullying policies. They have to provide supervision. They have to train their teachers to intervene early. And of course, the government too. Government has a major role to play. Governments must come up with laws, must enact laws that will protect children from bullying. So it's everybody has a role to play. It's not just the schools, the teachers, or the parents alone. The community and even the government as a whole, everyone has a role to play, if we must put an end to bullying.
All right. Thank you indeed, Dr. Yinka Olatubosun, an educationist. We thank you for your time and thoughts on the News at 10 on Silverbird Television tonight. We thank you.